All right, everyone, welcome back. And Josh Beatar and Alexander Goldman for FTS MMA. And today we are joined by the champ, the eternal welterweight champion, Kaleb Rideout, who returns to action at Eternal 74 to defend his title against Joseph Luciano. Kaleb, thank you so much for joining us today, man. How are things with you?
Yeah, good, man, and I'm happy to be here, man. Thank you for having me.
No, appreciate your time, man. Obviously, look, the title defense next weekend at Eternal 74 against Joseph Luciano. Couple of questions here. Just, it's a two-parter. Firstly, What are your thoughts on the fight itself? And what is your prediction for that fight playing out with Joseph?
Mate, I'm super pumped to finally have this fight. This fight is a fight that I have been chasing for a while. Joe Luciano is probably, one of the best welterweights in Australia at the moment, and I'd like to think I'm one of the best welterweights in Australia at the moment. So it's sort of good that we're going to collide now in not this weekend, next weekend. But yeah, and the way I see it going is how all my fights go. He's going to go to sleep. He's going to go to sleep.
Love it.
For sure. So, Kaleb, I had a question for you. We've heard a lot of, high-level professional fighters talk about that when they have their first loss, it almost takes some of the pressure off fighting moving forward. I was just wondering, have you ever sort of, experienced something similar where, after a loss, you've sort of come back and you found that there's maybe not as much pressure fighting?
Yeah, man, that's a great question, man. Honestly, if you look at my pro record, I'm 7-2. So, but if you actually look at my whole record, after my Chris Drummond fight, that left me at 2-2. And after that loss, I sort of sat back for a bit, tried to redevelop my game, how to, different mindsets of training. And I got sort of lucky in a sense when COVID hit too, because then it just stopped all the fights in general. So it actually gave me more time to work on myself. And then when everything opened up again, I went from 2-2 to 7-2, and now the current eternal welterweight champion. So yeah, man, I took a lot away from that last loss, and it shows in my record.
100%. Kaleb, look, man, I just, touching on that, like you said, 7-2 now. I know fighters don't like to get ahead of themselves, and with good reason. You do take each fight at a time. But obviously, being the eternal champion, I think, comes with certain, a lot of people looking at you a bit more seriously in terms of, where to next in terms of the UFC and that sort of thing. So, being 7-2, eternal welterweight champion, the last guy who was the welterweight champion, we all know Jack Della Maddalena. So, do you sort of anticipate a UFC call up, depending on the outcome of this fight, or have there been any talks so far of a potential either UFC contract or maybe Dana White's Contender Series?
Mate, I'm hoping. I know my manager's working on that. This is my last fight too for Eternal, because I've signed a 3-fight contract with them. So this will be my last. So I'm opened up again. Whether Eternal want to sign me back on, but man, I'm ready for the big show after this fight. Like, my game has improved massively, and it only keeps improving every fight I have. So I've got something to show on March 18th. So be ready.
100%.
So, Kaleb, I just wanted to ask you, kind of touched on it earlier, but, mixed martial arts, obviously, it's a very, very physical game, but I feel like fighting is obviously, it's so much more mental than it is physical, in my opinion. And you kind of talked about it, that when you were 2-2, you kind of had to sit back and, reevaluate some things. Was sort of working and developing your mental approach to the sport did you maybe find that your earlier approach in how you sort of mentally approached a fight, did you maybe find that was hampering your development as a fighter?
100%. So, I used to believe, like every fighter believes, that I think that I speak to at the moment too. After a fight, get straight back into the gym, prepare for the next one. Like, they're always constantly training and always at the gym, dedicating themselves at the gym. Now, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if you can handle that, do it. But in that sense, I couldn't handle that. I tried it. I used to train every day at the gym. I used to go finish work, go every day at the gym. And I started losing a piece of myself. And I found that actually hindered my career and my MMA career, because I wasn't actually, going out and enjoying myself, and just finding myself in a sense. So in in saying that, after when I went 2-2, after every fight that I have, I always made sure that I had a month away from the gym, just to hang out with my family or just my friends, just to get myself right. Because you know, training all the time, it's good. Like, don't get me wrong, like it's good, but you sort of like, I found like I lost a piece of myself, and then it took me a long time to get that self back. And yeah, that's any advice too I have for any other fighters. Like, it's all good and well to train your ass off. Like, I trained my ass off for years, for 6-7 years straight. But as soon as I started taking an actual step away from the sport and, like, you know, balancing my personal life a bit better, I found that my actual training life and my actual MMA and everything went skyrocketed through the roof.
Wow. That's awesome. Well, look, man, let's quickly touch, you know, on something else. Just quickly, I wanted to know from you. Obviously, I know you're a 6'2" welterweight. You're a tall guy. You're lean. Is there any possibility that in the future you'd ever make that jump up to middleweight, or are you pretty content staying at welterweight?
So I shouldn't even be in welter now.
Yeah.
That's what I get told.
I can imagine.
I shouldn't even be in welter now. I'm technically a lightweight fighter. I should fight at lightweight. I walk around at 77 kilos. I don't cut any weight whatsoever. I just rock up on the day and bang, pretty much.
Yeah.
But in saying that, I feel like that is a massive advantage to myself, because when everyone else is rehydrating and trying to get their bodies back to shape, I'm already at 100%.
Yeah.
From weighing day, trips most of the fighters I had. I know last fighter I fought was Kevin Jessette, and he's at the weigh-in, and I'm watching him, and he, as soon as we could officially weigh in, he was just up on the scales and that. And I'm like, oh, I had breakfast this morning.
Yeah, love it. That's awesome.
But in saying that, like, making a jump up to middleweight, I'd love to give it a crack, I really would, and it really prove you don't always need to cut these ridiculous weights. To be good at that. Like, I've proved it right now. As I said, I'm walking around at 77 kilos and I'm the current champ. So I'll prove it again on March 18th.
Awesome.
But yeah, maybe I might have a crack in middleweight. Maybe.
Yeah, for sure. So, Kaleb, I wanted to know, you know, mixed martial arts, you know, you obviously, you're out of a gym, you have a team with you, you have your training partners, but at the end of the day, it's such an individual sport in terms of, you know, just the nature of the game. And I kind of wanted to know, you know, did you ever have moments where you maybe thought about quitting, and maybe, you know, you were thinking maybe this sport isn't for me, just considering that, you know, again, it's such an individual sport, and the sport has so many ups and downs, both in fights, in the training room, outside of the gym?
Yeah, man. I'll just bring you right back after I fought Chris Drummond when I was 2-2. Like, to be real with you and to be honest with you, that next fight I had was probably one of the scariest fights I had, and that was against Drew Alexandra in UFN, I think back in 2001 in February. And I ended up finishing it in the first round with a knockout to a knee to the head. But I still remember, like, I don't get nervous for fights. Like, every fight I have, I rock up. Let's do this, boys. You know, like, I'm out the back. I'm out the back, believe it or not, fucking with the other fighters. They're all trying to focus, and I'm throwing lollies and shit at them. Yeah. But yeah, I remember. Before I'm walking out, I was shaking. I was peaking because I felt like that was my make or break, because I didn't know. I had such a long time off, and I didn't know. It was all, you know, confusing for me at that time. But then as soon as I walked out there, and as soon as I felt the lights, cameras, and then I was just back into old me, I ended up knocking him out. And he's a really good guy too. Like he's really good. And then from that moment on, I just knew, right, no doubt in my mind, this is what I want. I'm going to be UFC champion in the world future.
Love it, man. Look, couple last ones from us. Last one from me.
Yeah, man.
Is look, I love nicknames and sort of the origin story of people's nicknames. I always like finding out where they come from and who sort of coined them. So obviously, I know your nickname's Crazy Horse. Where did Crazy Horse originate from?
Yeah, man. So my nickname came back from one of my coaches, Zane Saliba, who was in the Ultimate Fighter house.
Mm-hmm.
He got it from Charles Bennett.
Yep.
I don't know if you know that fighter.
Yeah.
So I used to, when I was younger, I was 17 when I walked in that gym, and I used to be an absolute lunatic. Like I would refuse to tap. You know, I would never use my range. I'd just brawl and just go nuts. So my coach seen the similarities and went, you know what? Crazy Horse is a fitting name for this guy.
That's awesome. Love
Definitely.
it.
So I sort of rolled with it for a while, and I sort of like the character, and then you got this.
That's awesome. Love it.
Well, look, Kaleb, man, last question from us because we don't want to keep you too long. But look, man, I just wanted to know, did you have any inspirations in terms of fighters that you looked up to when you were early on in your days and your career as a martial artist? You know, did you have any specific fighters that, you know, were a big inspiration to you?
Man, I got heaps. My favorite fighter, and it's pretty much everyone's favorite fighter, is John Jones. I love his
for him on the
style. Oh, mate, didn't he go good? I was straight watching that.
Yeah.
I had the baby in one hand, UFC podcast in the other.
100%.
But watching him again was just unreal. But yeah, I used to watch him and his style I try and mimic. And you know, John Jones is just a weapon. And obviously, I'm big fan of Showtime. I used to remember getting his DVDs and watching it all the time.
Yep.
And you know, try and mimic some of his styles. Maybe I might do a Showtime kick in one fight.
Kick off the cage,
you can clip that, you know.
There you go.
but yeah, and GSP 100%.
Yeah,
awesome.
for sure. Well, look, Kaleb, man, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, man. We really appreciate it. We wish you all the best in your upcoming fight, man, and we'd love to talk to you again in future.
Yeah, 100%. Contact me anytime.
Awesome. Thank you, Kaleb. Appreciate it very much, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.